Good morning. Welcome to OG Foundation, capital of the sovereign state of Velodium. I'm your host, Sovereign Non of Velodium. Behind me are Benedict and Han. And this is episode, is it 5 or is it 6 of season 12. Working on the Molly Stark Tower and focusing on the floors and the walls. And I'll cut to that now. So here's the current state of the build. The left part is basically just kind of like an entry foyer. And then the right part is the Molly Stark Tower, which I got those forms down yesterday, and then it rained last night, so I tried to drape it with plastic, but the wind has clearly taken a lot of the plastic. And then the sky is open here. And then I'm working on the floor section over here. So the main task for this week is to bring the walls up around those circles there and to extend the floor. So that'll pretty much be the focus of the week. And what that entails is getting this last piece of remesh up, getting lath up in all of those gaps, probably getting some more rebar up there, and then mortar on all that, and then extending the floor out this way as well, which I can go a little bit further before I run into the obstacle of those walls. So today, if I can, I'll get those walls extended. So Friday evening, did some form work, got all those prepped in the areas in between the windows, cut in the top of that one window after adding the remesh, and did some things to get the forms to the correct level that I want. Then I pulled this form over here, prepped it, and got that form on. So I'm ready for a batch of mortar to get some coverage on all these forms. Friday evening, I just did one batch today, but I did lots of metal prep. So I replaced that form and then got a bucket of mortar in there. And there's probably about a bucket on that side wall. There's some really thick places. And then I got some mortar all around, bridged around all those windows and got up in between the windows there. And over here where I probably have enough surfaces to do another batch of mortar, but I'm just going to wait for tomorrow, because then I'll definitely have enough surfaces because I can go over all the stuff I just did and it'll be more solid than it is now. And then over here there was like some dirt on the form initially, so I didn't cover right there, but now I'm really glad because I'm going to leave that opening for, there's an opening in the wall and then there's an opening in the ground there too, so I'm going to leave that open for like electrical and plumbing to be able to get that piped down. And at some point I'm going to put a chimney hole in here somewhere. But that's it for today. I'll probably see you tomorrow. Oh, I also wanted to say that the boys have been so good today. They've been out grazing all day, free ranging, and not getting into any trouble basically. And just eating good stuff. This is like the first day, just doing so good. Also, interestingly, I've got a wire tied to a piece of rebar, which is right about there. And the wire is tied down to the column there, as tight as I can get it. And then that wood there is on top of the wire, tensioning it even further. So that like a 1 foot to 1.5 foot piece of rebar that is, you can see it right here. That piece of rebar there, and you can see the tie that's on it. So it was kind of jutting in a little bit, but I wanted it out so that it doesn't crowd the staircase. So I did that long line and put the tension on it so that the wire is pulling it out. And I probably should have got more mortar right around that, but I can leave that line for tomorrow as well. So that's all for today. Sunday morning, did a little more prep in this corner and basically ready for mortar. I'll get a second coat over that square and coverage on everything in this corner, and then keep working my way up over here. I just don't want to get the forms above where the floor is going to intersect the wall, because I want to tie that metal together. But over here I can do all of this. I can fill in a lot of these gaps, and or actually I'll probably add a form or two over there before I mix the mortar, so I can tie some of that in a little better. One batch in on Sunday. I ended up getting like a second coat on just about all of that form section that I did at the end of the last episode. So that's pretty much all done now. I was thinking I was going to get new coverage on all this stuff to start, but the way that the batch turned out being really wet just made more sense to get to do all that. So that'll basically be like a almost a finish coat. We'll see if I ever do a finish coat. That might just be a finish coat, but eventually if I do a finish coat, it would be with the trowel probably, and it would be over this once the whole wall's done, and then do it all at once. But I don't often do a trowel finish coat. I often just leave the kind of more mostly smooth, but you can still see some of the finger marks, and then kind of like smooth that out. But I'm just gonna eat some food and get on to batch number 2, which will then get coverage on all this kind of stuff over here. And then also started to get some forms on the rebar that'll go around the corner, so that the rebar, which goes either way, this is a new piece of rebar I put in, and then there's rebar that goes the other way, so that this wall will be supporting and anchored into that wall with rebar bending either way. Monday morning, I ended up doing a good bit of metal work yesterday instead of a second batch, but I figured this out. So I put a horizontal tensile thing above that arch section and then connected that with lath, and I wanted to get that done as well as like tie in the next piece of remesh there, and then do a lot of work with like leveling things before I got to the next batch of mortar. But it's over there mixing now, and I'm about to apply. I just wanted to get a shot of that before I get it mortared in. Also, I got that form up, and I got this, like, there's like a string tied to the ladder which is pulling that form into level, and is also pulling the top intersection of that piece of rebar up, so it stays as high as I want as I fill in the area in between the arch and then the tensile section. So that's a little bit interesting. It's a double, 2 birds, 1 stone with that one. We've got a high risk scenario unfolding. The horses are out, and I'm taking the boys to go get the packages, but the boys haven't been around the horses free range before, and the horses are so interested in the goats that they might come swarming. So it's very unclear what will happen here. It could end up bad, but I figure worst case scenario, the goats will just run home. Come on, boys! First test is with 1 horse. Sweet Sally. How you doing, Sally? You old gal. Sally is the mother of Odin and Stardust. She's very interested in these goats. Hey, be nice to the goats. Come on, boys. That's right, boys. Good boys. What a good response. Don't follow too close there, Sally. The high risk scenario is when we get to more horses. Ooh. So, okay, that was somewhat interesting, and I'm done now. She's the least interested of them. The younger ones will be more interested, and most likely they'll come swarming as soon as we get around this corner here. Come on, boys, this way. I know you like Sally already, so she's cool. She doesn't mess with us. Hey, y'all. Be nice to the goats. There's a moomer. Come on, boys. Gotta go get a package. Boys, come on this way. Gotta go get a package. Come on. Keep up with your brother. Good boys. Good boys, good boys. Oh, look, the other horses aren't even that interested. You got one coming. Oh boy, they're gonna come. They're gonna come as a herd. They're on the move. Will we make it to the gate before they reach us? What do you think, boys? Oh, they're not all that interested. They're not all that interested. No one came running or nothing. They got food they're more interested in. See you later, horses. We'll be back. Off to get the package. What is the package this time? Some sort of part to try to fix the hot water heater. Oh boy, now we're in the thick of it. On the way back, package wasn't even there. But now all the horses are here. Now we gotta go through the middle of them. This is sure to be interesting. Sure to be interesting, horsies. Who's scared of the goats? Who's scared of the goats? Y'all are more scared than the goats are, hey? Y'all be nice to the goats now. Don't get too close. Come on, goats. This way. This way, this way. Stay close. Up, stay close, boys. Come on, through here. Good job. Woo, woo, woo. Good job dancing around. Woo, good job, boys. You made it through. No, 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 horsies. Stay out of the way. Out of the way. Out of the way. Be nice, horsies. Be nice, horsies. Boys. Boys, cut over the fence. Cut over the fence, boys. Boys. The boys leading the herd. Good thing they're all good-natured horsies. I was thinking, oh, they made it. All on their own, no help from me. These crazy horses. You did good, boys. Stayed safe. Got through the gate. Good job. Good job. Good job. So today, I'm trying to repair this hot water heater. The company had sent this new circuit breaker, but it's got like 1,000,000 wires. And it's rather daunting to try to fix this, but I'm gonna try. And it works again. Huzzah! I finally fixed something. I gotta give 5-star review from Mizudo, who sent this the circuit board here, free of charge. As soon as they heard what was wrong, they just put that in the mail, sent it right out, even without the information about my previous order and stuff. Great company. 5 stars for Mizudo. Here's battery bank number 3 in the electrical tunnel here. So this is the only one that has the lithium-ion batteries. We've got 9 of them here. This is the biggest battery bank. This is the replacement inverter, where this company gave a 50% off coupon to replace it. That was pretty great. And that marks the last of the replacements. Well, plus the electrical fence. But I got a new electrical fence thing. And then other than some lost lights and extension cords, we're all recovered, everything all replaced. All 3 battery banks are at full operating capacity. And yeah, so this is a 4,000 watt inverter, but the way that this is wired, there's some places with 2-gauge wire to connect it. So this can't actually run 4,000 watts based off of how it's wired. I'd have to like double up each one of those because this isn't a 12 watt thing. But at some point I'll probably do that. I'll probably double up the 2 gauges with the 0 gauge. That one right there is a 0 gauge, and I'd add like a 2 gauge there. And this is all wired diagonally in parallel, and I'd probably do it like halfway in parallel or something, which I've been kind of looking up. But I think you're only supposed to put 5 in a row diagonally in parallel. But to most people that won't mean anything. But anyways, this power system is all set, and we're all recovered from the lightning strike. So by Tuesday morning, here's how far I got with the forms yesterday. And now I should be able to add lath to that section, now that the top mortar is kind of like in there and I'm not going to mess it up. And get full coverage on that like arch type thing, whatever that thing is called. And also tie in the bottom of that piece of lath over there. And then I added, I think, 2 more pieces of rebar yesterday. This one that has like a bend and goes there, and then that one that crosses over there. And after it's kind of like weaved in and out of the other metal to try to keep it level, and it's pretty strong. I could actually probably stand in a couple places on that metal even without any mortar there. And then once I got the remesh and the rebar all figured out, then I added another piece of lath here. I got most of it tied off. I just got to get it all buttoned up on that far edge and then on this edge, and then I'll be ready for mortar today, getting most of it on that new piece of lath and then a little bit more kind of over here, and got really good coverage over there, so I can get like a second coat on some of this as well, and maybe get some lath started on that section as well. Then I got this lath kind of like initially tied up, and I'll need to do a good bit more tying, but maybe I can get some mortar on there today. Hey, look who it is. It's the Green Goblin. He came over from that shed from his exile, hearing the roosters over here, and now he's seeing if he can find a new home. Want some food there, Green Goblin? You hungry? By the way, Grizzly's been doing great over here. She's somewhere around, and I think in between 1 and 2 weeks, sitting on the eggs. So I'd have to check the calendar, but she's doing so good. Oh, now I'm confused. So here's the Green Goblin here, and then I heard another rooster over where Green Goblin used to be. So what must have happened is another rooster must have been exiled to that shed, and then that rooster must have driven the Green Goblin out. He looked like he had a little bit of bruises on his frock. How's it going, buddy? You want some treats? Yeah, he got into a fight with somebody else over there. But I don't have time to go over to that shed to see. Did you hear that? That was over there. So the neighboring farm is exiling the roosters. Too many roosters. Yeah, he definitely got in a good fight. I don't know if you can tell from here. He's a bit bloody on his neck feathers, and got some bruises on his frock. You got exiled, and then you got into a fight, and then you got driven out of your exile place, huh? Tough life there, Green Goblin. You're not that interested in the food I just gave you. You want to just come over here, huh? You want a new home? Well, I don't think you can live with me, mister. I don't know, maybe you can make it back to your old flock. We'll see what happens. But he's in adventure mode. He's mobile, he's not staying still, and he's gonna figure out some place to go. I'm tempted to go see who the other rooster is. I'm gonna go check, see what this guy does while we're gone. Ah, well, I found the other rooster. He wasn't far behind. Can you see him there? He wasn't hanging out in the shed. Let's go see if we can identify this guy. This guy's afraid of me. And he's going back to the shed. I think it's either Manitorai or Elias, based off of how I name them. But they had other names. It's hard to tell which one. But it was bullying Green Goblin. Saw me and decided to go back to where it started. Now there's separation between them. And they'll go their own ways. Maybe. Anyways, I've had enough of this chicken drama. Rooster drama. I gotta get to work. This is one of the dogs that lives here. I think it's found a Roller's rooster warding off these exiled roosters to make sure they don't find a home here. Because we already got enough roosters around here. Poor Green Goblin. Green Goblin's hanging out. Boys eating burdocks and blackberries. They're kind of feeling each other out. Mutually scared, somewhat, surprisingly. Goat's scared of the single rooster, and the rooster's scared of them, but it's the way fear works. It's kind of a shared energy. Which was so interesting about the horses and the goats. That the goats weren't really scared, but then Zeus, that naughty boy, was just instigatory and chasing them down and whatnot. But anyways, trying to get a second batch of mortar done before some more tenant stuff. So Tuesday afternoon after 2 batches, and got really good coverage around all those windows. Just need to form on the final wall, and pretty good coverage on that arch thing. And then those 2 pieces of lath there, I got anchored in with mortar, as well as some on this, and pretty good coverage on this new section of lath here. And for the final batch of the day, I'm going to work on foundational stuff on the tires, which I'll show you on the other side. So here on the outside foundation, you can see how kind of dubious this thing is on the edge of the tires. Because really all of the weight is being held by that foundation right there. And if you cut out like all these tires, this whole thing would be suspended. So it doesn't really matter at this point that it's only really into like screws in those 2 tires and that one. It's good to put weight on it to let it to settle before really cementing it so that the load is shared more evenly. So now what I'm doing is coming through and pounding rocks into the dirt in the top side of the tires to get that really solid, and then I'll go through and add like nails and screws, and then I'll cement it all together. And I think I'll do that for most of the tires in this wall, except for that one with the boxwood elder tree growing out of it. I want to keep that. So these tires are all prepped with rocks pounded and then screws porcupining it so that it's all ready to receive mortar. All the way down to the bottom ones. I just missed maybe a couple. And got some thick mortar. Should go pretty quickly. Check out the sun. It's like we're on another planet. It's all orange. Orange and dim. I guess because of the probably smoke from some wildfires or something. But it's such a weird kind of light. What do you guys think? Batch number 3 is done. I'll show you in the morning. After just one batch of mortar with some rocks added in, most of the screws are covered. I guess I missed that one. But you can just see kind of the screw tips sticking out in most of them. But in a lot of them you can't even see the screws. Those are 3-inch screws. The 3 inches are cheaper than the others because you can buy them in 10-pound things. So it'll take additional batches. We'll see. I might get one more on today. This one here, if I can seal it from the outside, then I can pour from the inside. This one here is one that I already did from the inside that has that drain there. There's a little hole there. I might send a conduit through. But the fast way to apply a batch of mortar, other than all the prep work took a long time, but that'll really help to anchor in all these tires. And then once I have the tires all anchored in, I can extend that up to support the ferrous cement walls above them and the pieces of rebar that come down as well. And here's the new stuff from yesterday. And I got a second coat on most all of that, all the way up to there, and kind of working that transition over there as well. So I'm going to get some water up here and water all that stuff from yesterday. Then I'll cover this horizontal thing with plastic, and then do metal prep work, like on that piece of lath right there, and probably get some lath in right here. And then hopefully get at least one batch on today as I keep working my way around, and maybe I can figure out that transition right there. We'll see. So by Wednesday afternoon, I've kind of boxed in this stairwell and prepped metal on this little section, and also kind of prepped the bend in the metal as well as around there, and bonding it with that wall, and got these 2 additional pieces of rebar in going into that corner. So ready for some mortar. So here's the first look at how the stairwell is cut in, and I got that new piece of remesh really well bonded into the side wall, both with the remesh above and then the 2 inches of lath bent on the underneath, which is how I'm doing all these basically. So that's what this looks like. And then from below you basically can't really see it until you come around the corner. I really like how the staircase is turning out, even though it's super narrow. And I think I'll end up building up this sidewall quite a bit so that there's no accidental kind of things. And I still can't get over there to get any of that lath, essentially. I got a second coat on a lot of this. I'm just keeping it plasticed. It wasn't like that thick, but still a good second coat. And got an undercoat on that as well. So tomorrow I should be able to get out on some of that. Everything's curing quite quickly. I also put a couple kind of like what will be hanger things for below. So there's one right there, and then there's a smaller one, like a little locking type carabiner that will protrude from the roof. Got one extra more of those to put in. And I'll probably think about getting a number of those before I do the walls up here, because I'll probably want to add more of those. But I think that's about it for today. Oh boy! Unless I can tie up some more lath somewhere. The barbarians are trying to storm the gate. Luckily we have defense. They're no match for that one. Thursday morning, this was that overcoat on the one side. I just took the plastic off. I gotta water all this and then put plastic back on. And then the goal today is to get one batch of mortar completed by 10 a.m. so that it's all set by rain around noon or afternoon. So I'm getting an early start. I'm gonna try to hustle and get that done. And yeah, I gotta make enough new places to apply it and then get an over and undercoat on that so that I'll be able to get out on that and then extend it that direction. So that's the goal for today. So by 8:30 I prepped this sort of central part where a lot of the rebar is coming together, as well as that clamp. And this one will be really important to be able to connect kind of like the mortar along that edge with this new mortar on this edge. And then once the middle gets mortared, then it'll make it all a lot stronger. So I'm ready for mortar now, and I'm on target to be done, I don't know, probably by around 10 a.m. or something. And I can probably get like an undercoat and maybe an overcoat on that stuff from yesterday, and depending on how much extra I have, maybe I'll even do some more on the foundational stuff just to finish up the batch, but I gotta be quick about it. So I completed my task by 10 a.m. Got an overcoat on the stuff from yesterday, and then a nice thick fresh coat on all of that complicated rebar interlacing remesh, and as well as that thing from below, whatever it is, the eye hook thing that was salvaged off a broken come along. And so I'll give you a shot of underneath. All I did underneath was basically like that bridge right at the corner. I got kind of undercoating there, and then most of it went on the foundational stuff for the tires so I could get through the batch real quick. And I'll just give you a couple shots, and that's it for the projects. So it was quite difficult to get to the undercoat just because of the nature of the stairs and not a lot of good spots for the bucket and for standing and stuff. But I got the important stuff like up against the wall, and then that sort of corner transition, as well as that sort of corner. And up above, I'll just let that dry out in the sun until it's about to rain, and then I'll put plastic over it. And if I time everything well, it'll still cure at a reasonable rate. And this is how that hook ended up in here, and pretty happy with that. It's not totally straight, but I wouldn't want to fuss with it now because it'll mess with the rebar, so I'm happy with it. And then last shot is the tire foundations. So after two batches, the second one today, the first one yesterday, the screws are pretty much all covered, and the rebar is getting anchored in there pretty well, and you can see some of this cement is starting to reach up to actually support the ferro cement wall above. And when it chains together like that, then it also spreads out the weight to the lower tires and just really helps with the weight distribution and anchoring everything all together. I have that one open just in case I want to send something through there. And yeah, just all the screws covered up, and at some point I'll have to go through and do a rock wall underneath this dirt face and do some more fortifications of this whole ground area and do some groundwork and stonework and stuff. But that's all for this week for the projects. And here's the zoomed out view from underneath. Pretty soon I'll be able to raise those forms and then put a ladder up and start getting the outside and eventually finish that floor. The goats and chickens are all antsy to get out. Grizzly's been sitting on eggs for about 2 weeks now. And just wrap it up early on this Thursday. In episode 6 here. What is going on with that gate? And thanks for tuning in. See you next week. Surprise! So the next form is up, and I've rounded the corner there. And it's not going to be mortar today, but maybe tomorrow. And I'm just really happy how this bend in the remesh and the lath turned out. And once I can get that in, the bond between that wall and this wall will be super solid. I just won't go all the way up to the top where that rebar is until I can extend that rebar line where the form is. And I'll probably put another form in this little part here, but that really pushed forward the wall section.